Hey guys, my name's Louise and I'm a qualified heavy vehicle and plant mechanic turned trainer and assessor. This is episode 7 in my Being a First Year Apprentice series, and this is going to be the last episode. This episode I'm going to talk about the stuff that we go through as women that we can't avoid, that just happens. Alright, so we know, we get our period. Our energy level fluctuates throughout our cycle for vast majority of people. If you don't, I'm very jealous. And something that I really struggled with is trying to pretend that it didn't happen. That, I'm totally fine all the time. I'm fine. But it come to a point where my symptoms started to get worse and worse. The changes in my body that were happening month to month were getting worse and worse. My energy levels were decreasing at a certain point. My mood was fluctuating. God, it was a mess. Something that is really important to remember is to listen to your body. All right, if you're tired, like I said, in the wellness one, if you're tired, you're gonna make mistakes. It's not worth it. All right, we get 8 sick days a year. Make sure if you need it, you use it. If you're in a lot of pain, if you're really, really exhausted, it's better to take a sick day than it is to come to work, not concentrate and hurt yourself. I can't stress that enough, okay? If you're not concentrating, you're gonna hurt yourself and it's not worth it. All right, so besides that, your body change, your mood change. Another thing, if you're tired and you can still work, just make sure maybe on those days, don't do overtime, go home, drink more water, have some Hydrolyte. I find Hydrolyte helps me boost my energy as well when I get those really low days. So that's really important to keep your energy up and do what works for you. Okay? And the bleeding part, the period part. All right, so with the bleeding and the period part, so when I was the first year, I was 15, I was only at the pad stage. So I was using pads, changing, making sure you wash your hands. All right, guys, when you're working with chemicals, you don't want anything to go up in there, right? Make sure you're clean. All right, a few years later, I started using tampons, and also around that time, I started actually going out on site. Some of the sites had a toilet, some of them didn't. Some of them, we didn't really have a chance to have a long break, so you were out there smashing jobs, so you couldn't really go in and, check, if anything is, extra. So with that, when I was on those jobs, I didn't know where I was going and that kind of stuff, I would tampon and pad. And then throughout the day when I was working, I never felt like I could get my hands clean enough to then insert another tampon. So I would just, tampon pad. Once the tampon got full, I would pull the tampon out. And that was just a quick thing, and the pad was already there. I wouldn't have to worry about changing it. And if I didn't have a chance to pull the tampon out and it was leaking, it would just go into the pad anyway. So it wasn't too bad. Another thing, if you're sharing toilets, it's always good to have like little bags that you can put your rubbish in and just tie them up, chuck them in the bin. One thing that I also had to do one time was actually ask for a bin in the toilet. So I was on a site, it had a clean toilet, everything like that, but there was no bin in the toilet, and I didn't really feel comfortable, carrying out my little doggy bag and like putting it in another bin. So I just asked for a bin in the toilet, and they just put a bin in the toilet, which got emptied, every week and whatever, that kind of thing. So that was fine. Now I am actually using a cup, which I absolutely love, and I am never ever going back to pads or tampons ever again. All right, so I was fairly lucky. The first cup that I got worked really well and sealed for my body. But I know some people, it's a bit of a trial and error. We're all different shapes, we're all different sizes, so different things seal for us. So I don't feel the cup in at all. I almost forget that it's there. Sometimes I'm like, oh shit, I should change that. I forgot about that. Or not change it, I should empty it. I find it, pretty, like, it's hygienic. You sterilize it after you've used it. You store it in your little bag. Next time you got your period coming up, then you just keep how to use it. So do recommend trying a cup as well, but make sure, hands are clean. Depending on what site you're on, make sure you have stuff. I used to always, in the glove box of my ute, have like a bag of like emergency pads and that kind of thing. I did get caught out one time at TAFE. I was at TAFE, I was the only girl in my class, all male teachers, and I was like, shit, I got my period, I don't have a pad. I must have used all my ones last time when I had went to TAFE, and I didn't restock. So I ended up going up to the admin building and, standing in the admin, and the girls were all behind the counter, and I was like, excuse me, does anyone have a pad? And they were like, oh, duh, what did you say? And I'm like, excuse me, does anyone have a pad I could use? It was super awkward and I was so embarrassed. But really, why should I have been embarrassed? My body is just doing what my body does. And, you know, that's just what my body does. That's what our bodies do. So, and I've also bled through that you wear dark coloured pants as a tradie, so it doesn't really look like much anyway. So that's also something that could happen. But look after yourself. Make sure you're changing, you know, your health is the most important thing, okay? If you need to change your tampon because it hurts or it's full or it's been in there way too long, put your foot down and go and change it. Your health is the most important thing. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Congratulations on getting your apprenticeship again. Look after yourself. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask. You know, like I said, no question's a silly question. Make sure you ask all the questions. All right, guys. See ya.